Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with 3 S's. Woo! I'm your host, Chantele Francis, with my amazing co-host, Phil. How's it going today, Phil?
Oh, computer love today. It's all going great, right?
Wow, starting with me, I'm so sorry if you tuned in yesterday. Unfortunately, my computer cord got frayed and I've been house sitting the cats, as you know, and I think they might have gotten into it a little bit more, and so it frayed it further. And so I wasn't getting a charge on my computer. So we decided to postpone it till today. And so I had to go out and I had a whole bunch of things to do today. I had to leave the house. Can you believe it? And then get a new charger from Apple. That was another amazing race task in itself. And then I had to do rehearsal for a shoot that I'm doing tomorrow and a wardrobe fitting. And then I had to go back to my house and get all my clothes that I need, or my shoes and stuff like that I need for the shoot tomorrow. And then I finally get back here and I plug it in, and it's just like my computer would take forever to warm up. So I feel like my day today was more involved than this episode of Task this week.
Yeah, I think you had harder tasks this week to take care of. And then, of course, as soon as your computer starts working, now mine is all weird. It's so funny. I'm watching and I am a robot right now moving. It's but I know that it's working better what you're seeing, so we're gonna just go with it.
I mean, what I'm hearing is good. What I'm seeing is a little choppy. But as long as Lady Di, who's joining us here, doesn't mind, it's, we are living in a world of technology, and technology isn't always our friend. And I believe we've entered into Mercury retrograde, and Mercury is the planet of communication. And when that goes in retrograde, it kind of acts like it's moving backwards. And so things tend to go awry in terms of communication during this time. So for the next 3 weeks, we'll be probably dealing with different types of communication breakdowns.
Wonderful.
It's Mercury. It is Mercury trade for sure. Yeah. So wow. I mean, that's something we had to take note of. Let's not ever do the Amazing Race Canada when there is Mercury retrograde. We have to actually take a look at that, because it would be problematic. It would be very problematic. Well, thank you, everybody that's decided to figure out what time we're actually going live and decided to join us. If you haven't done so already, we would love it for you to subscribe to the channel. We're trying to build a community of people that loves reality TV just as much as we do. And of course, we're talking today about The Amazing Race. It's episode 3/4, leg 4. So that's kind of how I was looking at it. And it is after the blip, after the reset. We have 5 teams back at the mat. So we already knew this. They kind of teased this at the end of last episode. We know coming back are going to be Ryan and Dusty, Kim and Penn, your favorite. Are you happy that they were able to make it back?
I'm happy any team got back. Happy any
team. Then who else was there? The flight attendants, so Kayla and Raquel, and Lulu and Lala. And I'm missing one. Who am I missing right now?
You're also missing
and Akbar and Sherry. Yes. And so those are the teams that were able to make it back. I was a little bit disappointed that they didn't explain a little bit more as to why the other teams didn't come back. I would have loved to have just little snippets of maybe Phil talking to them, or them saying we'd love to be there, but I kind of just felt like they just were eliminated and we just don't know who they are anymore. Did you have the same thought?
Yeah, it would have been nice if they had maybe encouraging messages from those that couldn't come back, to talk to the racers, to motivate them, to get them ready at this new sort of start line, to get them ready. And sort of I mean, for the viewer, you do get attached to characters. It would be nice to know why. Now, I do know that the CBS website did do videos and shows what happened. And that kind of thing.
I'll take a look at that.
But for an hour-long episode, I'm already going to state, Chantele, there was 2 tasks. So I don't understand where all the time went.
Yeah, well, we're going to get to that. But first, before we get
Yeah.
into this episode, let's take a look at the survey that people had a little bit more time to fill out. So, hopefully, had a couple more
Yeah.
entries so we can see what people thought about last week's episode in Legs.
Definitely. So for last week, we asked, had anybody ever been to Glasgow, Scotland? We had a couple yeses. We had somebody say that they go to Edinburgh. The Glasgow doesn't do Scotland well, but most people said that they had not been there. We asked if there was going to be a dominating alliance. We had some interesting answers. Here, some people were really on the Anthony and Spencer, Ryan Dusty. They felt that was turning into a very strong one. A lot of talk about, these 5 teams that knew that they were coming back. Maybe they've been communicating during COVID. So most likely that those teams have done some sort of an alliance. For the fight, Team Caro, Team Ray, it's Team Caro all the way. Team Caro all the way. Not that matters anymore, but
true.
A lot of actually people thought that the kids weren't as done as we thought.
Oh, the kids. They look tired, but apparently I didn't notice this specifically. But there was more than one set of kids, I believe. Somebody was mentioning that, so they were probably like bored more than tired.
Yeah. Very split on which detour was which task of the leg was hardest. It was a tie between the detour and both detours, the kilt and the rebuilt. So it was a tie. People thought both of those were difficult. People were surprised that Aaron and Natalia were eliminated. And people were not upset that they were eliminated. Not very many people said that they were. We asked which of the current teams, the remaining teams, is making the most crucial mistakes, and it was Akbar and Sherry and Caro and Ray got the most votes there. Which Amazing Race 33 team would you most like to see return? It was... Well, this doesn't make much sense, but it was Aaron and Natalia. So people were happy that they went. They weren't like upset that they went, but they were wanting them to come back. And then which team would you least like to see return? I believe it was Caro and Ray. Caro and Ray and Taylor and Isaiah. That's a bit of a surprise. So,
okay.
Yeah. So that's last week's survey. We'll talk about this week's survey in a bit.
Thank you so much, Phil. So we're back at the new start line. And so this is kind of what was more familiar, having all the teams all together, ready to hear Phil say go and to start running. It's been 19 months since they last were on the race. They got the bad news when we're thinking maybe a couple of weeks we'll be back here. And nope, it was 19 months, which is wild. And the new starting line is going to be Switzerland. So have you been to Switzerland? I can't remember.
Yes, I love Switzerland. So the background, this photo is actual real photo. Like I was there. I was in many areas in different parts of Switzerland. So got to see the French side, got to see a bit of more of the German side of Switzerland, which was fantastic. It's a really wonderful country. I want to go back really bad. So
I definitely would like to visit there. A friend of mine, unfortunately, he's passed away, but he's from Switzerland. And so it was always a place where I wanted to go and visit with him. And so kind of see where he was born and all that stuff. And anywhere that's a French-speaking country, I'm always like more inclined to want to go because I know I'll be able to decently communicate. So It's on my list. Absolutely. Definitely. Nice. So they didn't hide it.
So we did find out a couple things. We found out that Natalia did get married, which was great. We found out that the flight attendants sadly lost their jobs during COVID, which
I still haven't gone back to flying, so I get it. I work as a flight attendant part-time.
And probably the biggest one that I thought was most moving to hear was Lala and Lulu's their grandmother passing. And I don't know about you, but I just really got the vibe this whole leg with Lala and Lulu. They're closer than they were when they were running before. I don't know. They
Yes.
just seem to be.
What I feel with Lulu and Lala is that they worked on some things. Maybe, first, one of the big problems that they had in, I guess it was the first episode, was like the freshness seemed of that relationship that I'm not sure which twin had gone through. And so the other twin didn't like how she was treated by that person. So that might have healed a little bit. And so maybe that's not going to be such a sore spot anymore. And I do feel as though they probably were like, okay, we didn't do very well. Like, how can we improve on things? And I think that that's probably why they seem to be more cohesive this leg.
Definitely. I agree.
So they're going to be having charter flights. We knew this, that the Amazing Race is going to have their own plane. They will be leaving still in their staggered times. And there's going to be a lot of self-driving. But first, they are going to run after Phil says go. They're going to be running to board 3 different buses. So the first bus is going to have 3 teams. The second bus, 2 teams. Oh, and I didn't even talk about the 2 teams that are joining, but you know what's happening. The 2 teams that joined, because they didn't really hide it from us at all, was Arun and Natalia and Michael and Mo. So they joined the race. So there's going to be 7 teams now racing. And it wasn't a surprise at all, but it was kind of like, I feel like they still needed more. 7 teams seems very, very small to me.
Yeah, I feel it was very small. I'm still, as I said at the beginning of this, I'm a little confused by the length of this leg and the timing. Like, there's some strange things that happen that I'm just like, I don't understand why they didn't have that beginning part where they could have told us about the other players that didn't come back. Or there is, at a certain point, it wasn't announced on the show, but the 2 returning teams, they actually had to do a speed bump. Leg.
I heard that, and I feel like that's so annoying that we didn't get to see that.
Yeah. So it's like, and it was kind of an interesting speed bump. Like, it would have been interesting to watch. So,
well, it was interesting to have it explained. I don't know if it was actually going to be interesting. Because from what I gathered from what they said, so Michael and Mo have been doing a lot of interviews, and so we've been hearing a little bit more that we didn't get to see about the race. And they said that Mo was dressed as a cabbage, I believe it was, and Michael had to find his voice, or vice versa. I can't remember exactly. What did you hear?
I heard
a cabbage and a walkie-talkie.
And I haven't watched it, but yeah, I heard like the cabbage is like almost like a Zorb, like a caution to get into, and you had to knock over something. But
bales of hay.
Yeah.
Trying to imagine this is more interesting than like probably the task was.
Probably it happening. But it would have been nice to know, because I mean, them coming back into the race, it would have been nice to know that they made them do a speed bump to qualify to come back into the race.
Now, I just don't know if I think that it should have happened, though. What do you think? I mean, I understand making it fair. So, if Michael and Mo or Arun and Natalia ended up getting to the end of the race, winning the game, if people will be like, well, they were actually eliminated. That was a pretty unfair advantage. There's 4 other teams that weren't participating. So, it doesn't seem fair for them to win. So I understand them putting in the speed bump to equalize things a little bit. But the fact that there's so little teams anyways, I just wish that it happened, but that was a non-elimination leg.
Yeah.
Right?
I think that putting them into a speed bump was silly in the fact that they couldn't get all the teams to come back. They needed these 2 teams to come back. If they had all those teams come back, those 2 teams were not going to get asked. So it's not right. I don't think it should have happened. It's nice that they didn't show it. Maybe they felt guilty about doing it, and that's why they haven't shown it. But they have shown it on CBS.
Well, what I've heard, or what people have been speculating, is the reason, and this is also kind of what I'm believing as well, is that it didn't really change the outcome of the race. And so, like, maybe if they overcame it and then they still didn't get eliminated, maybe then they would have showed it. But for the fact that it was just a race no matter what between Arun and Natalia and Michael and Mo, like, they just left it being at a race between the two of them to keep, like, I guess, the suspense.
Okay.
I guess, I don't know. I'm trying to make it make sense. Trying. Hi, Adrian. So no, there was an extra speed bump, exactly, where one of them, okay, so Michael, thank you, had to be in a giant ball of cabbage. Okay, it was Michael in the giant ball of cabbage, and their partner is blindfolded and had to roll them over piles of hay. What I heard that, well, Michael was saying he was screaming. Mo said he was screaming. What was he screaming? Okay, I thought that he had to be like, figure out.
Oh, so they mean Mo? Well, Mo would be his eyes, right? Because he would have been blindfolded, or Michael would have had to be the one screaming. I don't know.
So anyways, maybe I'm misunderstanding what the task was, but thank you, Adrian, for making it a little bit more clear. Would have been the most clear is if it was aired. Wouldn't that have been fun? That would have been very fun, especially because it's already a really sparse season. Like, the episodes seem really sparse. I need another task. It doesn't seem worthy of $1 million at this point. You know what I mean? Like, when we see the racers usually running around like India, per se, and doing tasks where it's like, looks hard and it's hot and it's straining and it's confusing and it's in another language. Like, I feel like these people are putting in the work for that $1 million. This episode and the last couple episodes, I don't know if it's worthy of $1 million. That's just my thoughts.
And I don't know if it's really that entertaining to watch.
I like the team, but it's not that competitive. And I'm not like, ooh, like, it's just kind of like, I'm just watching, you know? Yeah. So back to me starting with this episode, we have all the teams running to these cable car or these buses to take them up a mountain to these cable cars. And so there's going to be 3 different buses. What do you think about them kind of being equalized by these buses, but they're kind of still all grouped together?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if something had happened to one of the buses, but it was a race to the bus. The first bus took off. I don't think that the other 2 buses were that far behind them. I'm not surprised at which 3 teams made it onto that first bus. They seem to be the athletic, fast teams.
I didn't write it down, but if I'm not mistaken, the team on the first bus was Kim and Penn, Dusty and Ryan, and the flight attendants, correct?
Yes, that's correct, yeah. We did hear from Dusty and Ryan that they have actually been doing a lot of self-assessment about their time on the race, which, I mean, considering they did so well, that's actually really cool to hear. That's smart. And Kim and Penn, they're really there to finish what they started. They're motivated. They do seem motivated.
Yeah,
they're there to win.
They definitely are there to win. I mean, I feel that it's an easier race. You know what I mean? Like, a much easier, more winnable race than it was before. So hopefully it gets a little bit more challenging, but I don't know. It's not doing it for me. I'll watch it. I love it. It's still really fun, but it doesn't have that quality that I'm usually looking for. But thank you for giving us a season, CBS. I appreciate you doing your best to make it happen. So this is just me critiquing it because I want it to be perfect, but I'm grateful that we have it. So I'll just say that. So they basically all make it to the top of this mountain at the same time. And so the task envelope says, who wants to take in the view? So would that be me or you, Phil?
Oh, I think I would want to do it.
Okay, absolutely. I would obviously always let you do whatever you wanted to do.
Yeah.
You're not afraid of heights, correct? You're
not
just afraid of
heights at all.
Bikes and horses?
There's lots of things. So far, there hasn't been anything. So we are doing really well at finding tasks for me to do. Nothing involving animals really too much. Nothing involving physical work is good. This was okay though, because it really was I mean, yeah, you had the carabiner and staying on the line and everything, but it was really a walk
Yeah. I
across the
mean,
mountain. So,
I,
yeah,
I get that it would be scary. It wouldn't be scary to me though that like that I'm not scared of heights at all. So I wouldn't be. I mean, it would be adrenaline kind of like that would be rushing through me. Maybe the thinner air might make me have a
yeah,
little bit gaspier breaths, but I wouldn't have had a problem with doing this task at all. I'd probably be kind of like Penn running as much as I could.
yeah. At the spots where you could run, go faster for sure.
Absolutely. So Adrian says to me, they need to stop cutting the unseen task and let it play out. Absolutely, Adrian. I want to see it play out. I'm getting tired in general for reality TV, these super edited versions that to tell these stories that don't fully make any sense. Like they did it in
Yeah,
this, they did it in the challenge, All Stars season finale. They completely altered the edit. They do it in Big Brother with the edited shows. They don't show anything that's actually happening on the live feed. It's like whomever is deciding what story is being told needs to have a new perspective and take in more of the information that they're given and share it with us who are wanting to see these people do these tasks. I want the tasks,
yeah.
not the story.
I'm all for drama if it's drama and we want to watch it. Like if something happens, I want to see what happens. Like if there's a fight or somebody's taxi, well, they're not going to be in taxis, but somebody's car breaks down. I want to see that stuff. But for some reason, I don't know, it just seemed like there was a lot of focus on people walking and there was really no suspense behind it on this mountain. Like there was no, like, it was just too much of it. Like just show little bits of it. We could have got to see the other task.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, they definitely had time for the other tasks. So it was really cool though. You can stand in one spot and see 6 countries from this vantage point, which I thought was pretty amazing. So is that the exact spot like with what's behind you, or is that just another Swiss Alps?
No, this is Grindelwald. So not the same area, but it is in the Alps. Yeah, I mean it's amazing to think of all the countries that you can see. So there's we went outside of here. We went to Salzburg, Austria, and between Switzerland and Salzburg, you actually see the mountains that like on the Sound of Music at the end when they're walking the mountains and that, right? So it's like all these things have happened on these mountains before. So
I wish that they made them like spin around and sing a yodel or something. But
a funny thing about the end of the movie. So when that we learned on that was when they're leaving the filming of it, when it shows them on the mountains leaving, you think that they're leaving, but they're actually moving into Germany on the way that it's been filmed. Like, so they actually filmed it and they're like going the wrong way. So like, oh, that's not the way that they were supposed to go in the movie.
I love that. I mean, I would love to go on one of these tours. It sounds like a good time. So Adrian says it was teams are going to have to get high. What?
Yes.
Oh,
I noticed him say.
Oh, from Phil for me. Oh. Okay, I have a question. Were you not incredibly irritated by the fact that Sherry, who is more physically out of shape than her husband Akbar is, and is terrified of heights, decides to do this task? Why?
Yeah.
Why did this happen? I couldn't.
Why did this happen?
I couldn't be supportive for her because it was her choice to do this task. She's like, no, I'm going to do it. Don't do this task. You don't need to overcome this. Allow your husband to do this task. And you can do the other heights task that we're going to see that you're going to have to do next week. But like, I don't know why she decided to do that, especially since it's going to be basically a foot race on a mountain and she's not fast and she doesn't like heights.
And she's starting last. Like she's in last place at this moment. Like, and I don't know what happened because like she said at the beginning, it seems like Akbar is too big to do it. Like she said, it seems like, but it never sounded like they got confirmation that Akbar was told he can't do it. So then it was like, did he make the choice? Did she make the choice? Who made this choice? And why did they both agree to it? Because like he was like complaining, oh, I should have done it. I should have. Well, then why didn't you? And she's, yeah, I didn't quite understand why she stepped up to do it. Like, I don't know. She hasn't been that person that's been like, I'm going to do it. Maybe this was a mistake. Maybe this was something they talked about during the COVID time, that they're like, maybe he said, you need to step up more. And maybe this was her way of doing it. But I don't know.
Well, no stepping up more doesn't mean make you lose the race because you were not the right person equipped to complete this task. You know what I mean? Like, don't say like, well, I stepped up. Like, okay, good. Well, why don't you step up in something that you can excel at and maybe like push you ahead and move forward in the race, as opposed to like solidify the fact that you're at the back of the pack. So bizarre.
Yeah, and she was at the back of the pack anyways, and he knew this. What the hell was he bothering complaining about? Like, you knew this. You knew there's probably no chance that she's not going to race past everybody. She's scared to death. Don't complain. You're just making it worse.
Well, Lady Di here saying that he was also scared. But if he was also scared, he needed to realize, like, look at all the people that did it. It's going to be Penn did it. So it's going to be one guy that's going to most likely be decently fast. I can't remember which of the flight attendants did it. And then also, the twins, like they're in good physical shape. And so the fact that the least physical person on the race at this point is the one that's doing this task is really, really not good. Was Arun the person that did this task?
Yes, it was.
So Arun is a bastard. Like, it was just so mortifying. And I appreciate if it was on her own time that she did something, she overcame her fear and she climbed the mountain or whatnot. I mean, I'd be like, amazing, that's so good. But with $1 million on the line, I couldn't be supportive of her because it's like, you shouldn't have done the damn task. Was it your task to do?
Yeah.
Well, Adrian says, well, I'm proud. At least she completed it. But Akbar, in my opinion, was so not supportive of her during the rest of the leg.
Yeah.
Well, they just made bad decisions, and maybe they should stop doing that. Because to make her do something that was a bad decision and then be irritated by her doing poorly at it, that also irritates me,
Oh, yeah. No, I think we talked about this in leg one. It's so much extra baggage when one partner is putting it on the other going, you're not doing it right, or you're too slow. And you knew that when you picked your partner. Mm-hmm. You knew that when you got casted. You can't push that on people. If they're slow, you've got to find a way as a team to get around that. Be smarter, make better choices.
And yes,
don't put blame on.
So this whole task was pretty much an equalizer. There was no big distance differentiation between the times of the racers because of the cable car. So they took a cable car up, which they were all on together. But your order was determined by when you opened up your clue. And so Dusty and were they there first? Hold on. Yeah, Dusty and Ryan were at the cable car to go down first, so they zipped through the mountain, but they had to wait for the next one because they just missed one that was going down. So by that time, all the other teams, except for Akbar and Sherry, they were able to catch up. And Kim Penn really like zipped through, and he kind of passed a bunch of teams. He was quite quick at that task.
He did. Quick. Yeah, no, he was probably the only one. I mean, that
to overtake people
went up. Yeah, he overtook people. So he thought about how do I get ahead in this? I agree. Like, I think that having that cable car disadvantage sucked. Like, I mean, it made that whole thing kind of pointless, except for Sherry. Maybe if they had put something at where they went and got the clue, something to do with those 6 countries, like a task.
A task.
Had to come back.
Or
Yeah.
like they have to see a sign or something, or like solve a
Or
puzzle,
put the flags in the right positions, right?
like where they are, where they're
something.
facing, or like a compass arrow or
Yeah.
something, like to make them have a task to do on top of just like running to a clue box and running back and then waiting for a cable car and everybody gets all together. So everybody's equalized except for Akbar and Sherry. They all go down and it's self-driving. Okay. Oh, but Adrian first says that he gives props to her for handling her husband and putting her foot down to him during the flag task, telling him to shut up. Yes, yeah. I mean, they know how to handle each other, absolutely. So it's fine. I just wish that they made a better decision beforehand. It was just, it made me frustrated with their choices as racers. It's hard to root for people that are making bad decisions when they have the complete option to make a better choice. So what did you think about the fact that the self-driving wasn't even standard? All the cars were automatic. What?
Oh, I'm okay with that. I'm okay. I know we just had I know it's Europe and that should be a thing, but I'm okay. The last leg was about,
I believe, went and learned how to drive standard all for nothing, or maybe there'll be some places where they can't get automatic.
But they're in Europe. They're going to have to drive stick again somewhere. So.
I hope so, because I was just like underwhelmed at the fact that like, okay, so now it just seems so easy. It's already really easy as a new season. The fact that they don't even have to worry about stick shift is like, Hi, Chris. Chris with a nullified take. Everybody go follow Chris. I'm going to be over there in about half an hour, 40 minutes to talk about everything that's going on in All-Stars after the season. Ooh. So if you want to catch up with me, Chris, and Drew, we will be going live at 8 p.m. Eastern. But Chris says here, Penn made me nervous running down the hill. I was afraid for his ankles. Yeah, I was afraid. Like, he was quite reckless. He was running that hill. It was a little bit... scary, absolutely. But he got there safe. He was able to overtake some people, leave in second place, kind of, or get to the cable car second. So pretty good.
Yeah, that was a risk. Like, I mean, I don't think it was the safest thing to do, but it was good. I'm giving him props. He got ahead of another team. He was the only one to do that.
So. Props. Oh, okay. So Adrian says, also wants to know how we feel about Ryan's calves rounding down that mountain. I'm not a calf girl. Are you a calf guy?
Well, I thought it was all right looking. I thought, I was pretty impressed with that. They looked big, like almost like they were too big, but yeah.
I looked. I mean, when the comment happened, I did look. I didn't really see it. Just looked like calves, like of somebody that works out.
Right.
Hilarious.
They don't look like mine, for sure.
Chris is impressed by the calves. Okay, maybe like these are. I should get a screenshot for next week so we can have a real good analysis of his calves. Those are big calves. Okay, you guys, you're killing me. So, yes, everybody ends up passing poor Sherry, though. Like, it would be really disheartening knowing that you're conquering your fear here and then you're dead last and everybody is just like passing you on their way back and you haven't even gotten to the halfway point yet. So I felt bad for her, but I was just like, it serves you right. It's kind of a little bit tough love about it. It's kind of how I was feeling about poor Sherry.
Poor Sherry.
So they have to either punch it or toss it. What would you have chosen? Punch it or toss it? So punch it, they're going to have to tell a story with a belt where they have these little emblems, we'll say, that they have like a cow and like a calf and a crown, I think was one of them. And they have to tell a particular story and adorn the belt. And then hammer it in and show it to the belt master or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
That was one. So that's punch it. And then toss it. It ends up being that they're going to be taking the Swiss flag and they're going to have to do a flag dance with it. So what would you think we would have done?
I actually think we would have been okay either way on
Easy.
this.
Mm-hmm.
I think reading it, like, being honest, like I always look at this, like I go, okay, no, honestly, if I read this, what would I think would sound easier? And I probably would have thought that the belt, like I
It
probably would have
seemed
been
easy to
like,
me
well,
too.
it sounds very easy. So like I don't quite understand why not more people pick that. It turns out, though, it looks like the flag challenge maybe I don't know, but it seemed like it was faster for people to do, which surprises me because it just seemed like that belt seemed easy.
No, but I think the problem is okay, this makes sense as to why they didn't show the other tasks. Because the two teams that chose to do the belt task, there would be no the suspense that they might be close to the other teams doing the flag or whatever. They would be so far behind. And so I think that they just completely omitted it. So it seemed like they're doing that task at the same time as people were doing the flag task, even though it was probably an hour later. And so
right.
I guess that is probably why they didn't put the other task in, to make it maybe seem like they are in close to the mix, even though they were, no matter what, the last two teams.
Yeah, I think you're right. So, I mean, I think that the belt probably was faster.
Yeah, I think it was faster. It looked really easy to me. But it didn't seem that easy for poor Michael and Mo. So Michael and Mo and Arun and Natalia decide to do this task. They were both there pretty much at the same time. And they adorned it differently than Arun and Natalia. And firstly, they thought that it was because it was like back to front or front to back. But I actually don't think that was what the problem was. I think that they had the story, the order of these animals and shapes, images different than Arun and Natalia. But Arun and Natalia go for their check first, and they actually did get it. And so after that, they finish hammering theirs. They realize that theirs is wrong, but they're able to now take a look at the correct belt and then do it properly. So it seemed like an easy task to me, though.
Yeah, I felt bad for them. I can imagine both the teams are very stressed because they do not want to be the first out since they just got back in. So it's got to be very stressed.
Now, were you shocked that Ryan and Dusty and did the toss it? I thought that they would 100% be punching people. Punch? Does that mean the word punch?
Maybe with the word punch.
Yeah,
maybe.
Like punch. You toss? I mean, maybe they toss
actually,
like a football.
I'm kind of surprised that they thought they went with the flag. But didn't they, when they got there, was it them or was it Penn that said basketball? And then they went in and went, oh, it's not basketball.
Well, maybe because they went to a gymnasium. That's why.
But so then maybe they did. Did they understand
but
what the
basketball
task was?
is not a toss type ball? Yeah. I don't feel like you toss a basketball. Well, maybe no, you pass a ball. So
yeah,
I don't know. Toss is like I don't know. Toss a potato. Maybe they thought you were going to toss potatoes into a basket. I don't know. Maybe. The Elephant Take here, Chris, is he's still talking about these calves. He has big calves, but no flexibility when it came to the flag challenge. LOL. And Travel the World is here. Hi, Travel the World. Thanks for joining us. So Ryan and Dusty and Kim and Penn are in one room. And then in the second room, eventually is going to be Kayla and Raquel and Lulu and Lala. It's surprising to me that so many people did this task because I thought it was much harder. So maybe the race was like that one. They wanted them to do the harder one so that they gave the tough time for the people doing the roadblock the speed bump to catch up. Like maybe they just like, maybe you should do this one. Yeah. And just kind of influence them to do that, because I feel like, Kayla and Raquel were just talking about how it wasn't the task that they're going to be good at. So I thought it was surprising that so many teams we didn't anticipate doing the toss it did it,
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that the girls actually did the flag one just because of their decision the leg before. They were really about the barrels and it seemed like that was the more of the route than the theatrical performance sort of tests there. But maybe they wanted to do a theatrical performance one with the flag. So
how annoyed were you when Ryan and Dusty were considering switching because they're having difficulty learning this routine? So they kind of had to do it and around and under the leg, their thighs got, their calves got in the way, up and over, and they were kind of, they toss it up and catch it. It seemed pretty easy, but they definitely seem to be having a little bit of trouble. Do you think that they're actually going to quit, or do you think it was just like a red herring?
They bring it up, and as soon as a team brings it up, they're on it with the cameras because they want to see that drama. But I actually kind of wouldn't have minded if they did switch. I mean, it might have put them in a little bit more danger. I mean, they're on my draft
number one pick.
But I wouldn't mind. I don't mind seeing the guy teams have to really stress and earn it. And it would have been nice to see them have maybe come from behind. They'd have to figure it out.
So Adrian agrees with me here. So I'm shocked that Ryan and Dusty wanted to switch last minute, but they got it out on their first try. Anyways, yes, it seemed as though they were questioning switching or not. Then Kim and Penn decided to give it a whirl. They got a no, and then Ryan and Dusty decide to give it a try, and they were able to seemingly get it correct on their first try. So good on you for not switching detours. Thank you. And so they're out, and they're running towards the pit stop. Who knew that this leg is over already? And then we had Kim and Penn seemingly shortly after they were able to get it done as well. So they're on their pit stop second, it seems. I did love how Raquel, I think it was Raquel. Who has the glasses? Is it Raquel?
I think that's Kayla. Kayla's the one with the glasses. Okay. I think. Pretty sure.
So Kayla, I believe, was talking about how while she was off, she was learning to meditate and not stress out about things. And so I love that she kind of evolved as a person coming back onto the race, and they were able to use that, kind of channel that energy to get the task that wasn't necessarily meant for them done. So I was proud of them.
Yeah, definitely. They both teams, Lala and Lulu, did great on that challenge as well. They got it on their first attempt, and amazing job.
Amazing. So they're all ready to the
team. They feel like such a different team.
They're a little calmer, they stronger. They seem more competitively competitive. They seem much more fit.
Yeah.
Love it. So going to the pit stop, first place, no surprise here. We got Ryan and Dusty. They have greeters there. I was surprised that they were greeters.
Not masked.
I mean, I guess wow. Their bubble, they've probably been quarantined, and they're considered talent. So when they're on air, they don't need to have their masks on.
That's true.
But I was surprised that there was greeters, just because I was thinking that they were trying not to interact with that many people. But I was happy to see them. And thank goodness they're not giving anybody trips anywhere anymore. So they got $2,500 each. I would have loved that. Nice. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Give me the money. So
travel fund.
Yes. For 5 years from now when we can actually leave the house. Second place, Kim and Penn. Third place is Kayla and Raquel, and Lulu and Lala kind of all foot race to the bat, which was kind of fun. The two female teams getting to them at the same time, talking about girl power and wanting to maybe help each other succeed and move forward. So I really liked that idea of them working together a little bit, or wanting the best for each other. So I like that. Definitely.
I did too. I was wondering how Lala and Lulu, they seem to react fine, but I feel like there could have been Kayla and Raquel, they raced past them right at the mat to get that third. And I was kind of wondering, was it worth doing that for the chance that Lala and Lulu might not respond well to that?
Maybe they already talked about it.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was more friendly, we're going to get this. Maybe
we're
it was
get
a little bit more friendly.
And you're running and everything. But, there's always that slight thing of, oh, we've got a team we're working with, and then they get mad at the mat. I think we've seen it a couple times where they're like, well, why did they step in front of us? And so just wondered.
I don't know if I would get upset about that. So I hope that they wouldn't.
No.
You know, and it
I
still
mean,
is
they
a
knew
race.
that they
If someone,
weren't in trouble.
right, exactly. They knew they're fourth place for sure.
Yeah.
And so we kind of already talked about it, but the unsuspenseful, like Aruna Natalia versus Mo and Michael, both of them seemingly not great at getting directions and self-driving, and nothing really changed here. So who else? We were missing people, right? Where's one more person? Oh, right. Okay, I forgot. One thing that was really, it made me feel very good was Akbar and Sherry. They make it to the toss it task, and they still saw, I believe it was Lulu and Lala leaving. And so they had a sense of hope that they weren't completely out of it. So I think that also piggybacks on top of wanting it to seem as though there was suspense and that maybe Akbar and Sherry could be eliminated, but maybe not. But if we knew that Aruna Natalia and Michael and Mo had to do the speed bump, we wouldn't be that worried or very excited for Sherry and Akbar to, oh my God, they got there in fifth place. Like they were able to overtake it. So I think they were trying to manipulate our emotions with how we felt about them finishing fifth.
Yeah, I think they're going to try and make, for maybe the next leg or two, Akbar and Sherry as the underdog team. That maybe they're going to try and get people to root for, but I don't know. I just don't know if we're going to get behind them. It depends if they continue fighting or not.
Make better choices, though. So Chris says Ryan and Dusty are now the biggest target for a U-turn. Ooh. I mean, but the U-turn is going to be a non-elimination leg, so... And I feel like they'd still be able to do both those tasks before some of these teams do one. So they don't seem to have problems with the self-driving or the tasks even itself. So I don't even think it's going to be that difficult for them to overcome a road or a U-turn. So I think that Kim and Penn will win based on the edit. I do too, actually. Based on the edit, I think that they having a little bit of a winner's edit. Also, I feel like their YouTube channel that they're kind of doing recaps of the race reminds me a little bit of Will and James. They were the only team from their season that had a YouTube channel that I was watching, and it just felt as though they were the winners. When I was watching their YouTube, I'm like, I feel like they won. And I'm kind of feeling like that with Kim and Penn as well. But they did say, I did watch their recap of this episode, and they did say that people that do have recap podcasts are a lot of people. So I believe Lulu and Lala is someone that they said that have a podcast recapping the race. Raquel and Ryan, or Kayla and Ryan, one of the two, their teams kind of switched, like flipped up, and they have one together. And then there was one more that I'm forgetting. Someone in the chat will remind me, I'm sure. Okay. So Akbar and Sherry, they were doing the toss it task. She wasn't letting him give her any shit about it, and I was here for it. I was like, you know, she did all the work this episode, and so he doesn't have any legs to stand on at this point to tell her how to do anything. So I was happy that she shut him down, told him to shut up, and they completed the task seemingly in decent time, and they managed to get to the pit stop in fifth place. So, as I was saying before, Natalia and Arun, they are not good with directions. From some of the exit interviews, Michael and Mo said that they were following them because they had a feeling that there was going to be a race between the two of them. So they were following them in the beginning because they thought that they had the right information. So they kind of both got lost together, which I think was another big downfall of Michael and Mo's game. Because if they had just either trusted their own instincts or got their own directions instead of following Arun and Natalia, they might have been able to get to the pit stop first. But it did not happen. Arun and Natalia, 6th place, And for a second time, the first time I believe this has ever happened in Amazing Race history, that a team has been eliminated twice in the same place. So in last place. Oh no. It's a sign.
Yeah.
I'm losing everything. Mercury retrograde is at its finest. Okay, you keep talking for a second, and I'm gonna fix this.
I mean, I felt bad for Michael and Mo. Obviously, they must be just heartbroken that this happened. I mean, to come in, run one race, first leg out, come back, get this second chance, and the very first leg they're out again. I don't know if this. Yeah, that's so funny. I think somebody had said, and actually, I think I see it in the comments. Francesca. From Survivor, they basically are they like 2-time first leg elimination people, and that sucks. I mean, twice in one race. Poor Michael and Mo. But I'm okay with it because I don't think that they were making good choices.
Yeah,
the race and
it seems like they're
I don't know if they
fans.
Were true contenders. Yeah,
they're new fans. They were popular because they were on Ellen because she got wind of them being these singing cops, and it wasn't.
They didn't have them sing. They didn't have them sing on the way out.
Is it because they did it already the first time? They're just like, okay, played out, a little bit played out.
We don't need to hear that again.
Well, and that's it for the race. This episode. Was there anything that I missed that? You want to talk about?
No, I honestly, to be honest, I did not feel like this episode really did much. I do wish that they filmed other things, and I'm looking forward to next week. It does seem like there's at least a riskier task that might take place. That might be fun to watch, but it does feel like we're looking at 3 or 4 very strong teams that are looking like they're going to go very far unless we get a big surprise.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like those top 4 teams are the top 4 teams. Like, I feel like they placed in order of their strengths. You know what I mean? And maybe the top 3 or 4 might shift around a little bit, but I don't think Akbar and Sherry at this point have a shot at winning. I don't. Maybe Lulu and Lala. They're doing better, as you've noticed. The reset, but. Right now, I think the top 3 contenders are those top 3.
I do too. I do understand where people are saying about Kim and Penn. I'm hopeful that the flight attendants, they are the team that I'm rooting for. And I can sort of feel that there is a potential winner's edit in there for them being strong girls fighting through this. And so I'm not giving up hope that they win.
I'm gonna listen to the podcast and see what the vibe is. You know, if there's a winner's vibe, how they're recapping it. I'm gonna give it a little watch. So Chris is saying here that the viewership is up 30% this episode on episode this season compared to last season. Okay, that's great. That is great. I mean, I guess it was airing late, but during 2020. That's great then.
I would also imagine that some of the viewership, there's people that are interested in, well, how did they do this? How did they do this with COVID? And I'm sure that that's piqued some interest in some of the past fans that maybe have stopped watching. They might come back to this and be like, how did this work? I can't imagine that this episode thrilled tons of people. I mean, it wasn't overly exciting.
Not at all.
My opinion.
So Chris says Michael and Mo and Aruna Italia may have had less time to prepare since they weren't a sure thing to come back. I mean, I think that once they got 2 no's, they were probably like, okay, let's maybe ask Aruna and Italia, like the 2 teams that have already, I feel like they got a similar amount of time to everybody else.
Right.
I don't think they would have been last minute, 2 weeks, you got to go. I think that they would have proposed that to them in the same time frame as they would have everybody else. My opinion. I could be wrong.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, so let's get to this week's survey.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so we do have the survey in the description. Click it, fill it out. We want to hear from everybody. We love to hear from our listeners. I was going to say fans, but they're
our
fans.
fans.
The fans are for you, Chantele. I know how this
This is
works. Don't
our
worry.
fans.
All right. So, which Amazing Race 33 team are you most happy to see return to continue the race? Now that we know who they are.
Oh goodness. I mean, I guess I was most excited to see Michael and Mo come back because I was hoping that they would have a redemption arc and that I get to see them do a couple more tasks. So I was most excited to see them come back.
Very good. Which team are you most disappointed didn't return?
All of them. Most, I think, well, Anthony and Spencer, because like I really thought that was going to be like my winning pick team. Like I thought that they had a good chance of letting Ryan and Dusty like have some competitive edge there, and so I wanted to see them have another male team to really compete against. And also like Taylor and Isaiah, we didn't really get to see enough of them. I was interested in seeing their love story and how they work together, and like they just seem like likable people, and so I wish that we had more time with them.
Nice. Have you visited anywhere? So in for leg 4. So sorry, I said leg 3, but leg 4. So for the Switzerland, you haven't been to Switzerland, have you?
Mm-mm.
Which task from leg 4 do you think was the hardest? Navigating that mountain roadblock, punch it, or toss it?
I guess the mountain.
Which remaining Amazing Race 33 team do you think improved the most from when we last saw them race?
Definitely Lulu and Lala.
Were you surprised with the second elimination of Michael and Mo?
Well, I was surprised that again they didn't do a non-elimination leg.
Yeah.
Just like the first leg, I think in general should be non-elimination. You know what I mean? I know that it's not suspenseful if they know, and I remember in the beginning of the race history, I used to be able to tell when it was and was not because he said may be eliminated when, you know what I mean? So we were able to suss that out. And now they say may all the time, or will for sure sometimes. But yeah, like just make it a non-elimination leg. We don't need them.
Yeah, it would have been nice. I mean, you only have 7 teams.
You have 17. These teams just came back with 19 months COVID, like had to probably go through so many protocols, COVID tests every other day, like quarantining, uprooting your life. They do have jobs in the community. So it's not like, Kim and Penn who work from home, like they would have to get a leave from work. It's just like, you made them come back, at least let them have the experience of completing a leg and not going home.
Yeah. That said, are you upset with the elimination of Michael and Mo?
Well, for those reasons, yes, I am.
Yes.
I don't like the fact that either of them were like, now that we know that there was a speed bump, like that they basically wanted one of those two teams to go home anyways. So I was just kind of like,
Yeah. Okay, and the last one is we now know who our final 6 teams officially will be. Who's your pick to win?
I'm going to stick to my guns here and say that I feel as though this is the type of season where Kim and Penn will be like second all the time, second, third, maybe a first every once in a while. But I feel like the leg that matters, they will run a perfect leg and they will win this race. I feel it for them.
Well,
sorry.
I hope not.
And you want the girls.
I would like Raquel and Kayla, and if not them, Ryan and Dusty. And
well, these are your people on your team.
Lala and Lulu, and if not them, Aaron and Natalia.
Wow. Okay. Well, I guess you do not want them to win at
Akbar
all.
and Sherry.
Brutal.
Brutal.
So is that it? Is that all she wrote?
That is it for that.
Wow, says. Okay, so let's just see the last of these comments here. So yeah, this leg, in my opinion, solidified my prediction boot order. So what was your boot order? I might have just missed it, Adrian, if you want to let us know again. Also, how do we feel about the slight shade from the flight attendants to Rusty? I don't remember the shade. When did they say
at the pit stop with the girls.
Yeah, what did they say?
I think they said that those guys are getting too was it cocky, or I forgot what the word was, or too smug. I think it was smug. I like it. I think that was very smart to you're bonding with this other team, and now you guys have a common enemy for that U-turn board.
And it creates some drama. It creates a storyline. So these editors will be like, ooh, there's a storyline now. So it's like the girls against the two guys, and they don't even know they're competing.
Yeah. And it's a great way, the pit stop does. That was a great way for them to go, look, our eyes aren't on you, our eyes are on them. Put your eyes on them for us.
Chris is agreeing with you here. Chris feels like it was just a competitive dig at them, and he likes seeing this on the show. I don't mind it. I thought it was. No. I like a little bit of a rivalry. I just watched both seasons so far of Cheer, and like the two schools that are rivals. Like it's just like I love the competitive rivalry between like kind of friends, frenemies, racers. Like yeah, I'm into it. Adrian says, yes, now Ryan and Dusty are the only all-male team left, but in my opinion, are the strongest of the four. Yeah. Definitely most consistent so far. Adrian is honestly here for it. I like take them down. Yes, take them down, ladies. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, we need this competitive spirit. I totally agree with you here, Chris. The show will just be boring. Maybe this is a sign that they will U-turn the guys when they have a chance. Ooh.
Foreshadowing.
Possibly. Oh yeah, I need this to go for a few more episodes at least, and at least the whole season. I'm here for it. I want it. Oh wow, Chris wants Lulu and Lala to win. All right.
Nice.
Go Team Twins. I mean, I love twins. We do know that. This episode is an improvement. I want to see them continuing to do well and working together well, and then I could be on board. Well, my boot order is basically how they placed in this leg. Yeah, exactly. I feel, if I feel with my intuition as well, I do feel it's going to be flipped, and it's going to be a little bit of an upset, and that Kim and Penn is going to win, and Ryan and Dusty will be second. Well, that's it. What do you have going on, Phil, that you want the people to know?
Not too much this week to talk about. Just excitement. Nothing too crazy. I don't have any announcements. Go to Switzerland. Enjoy
Go to Switzerland
when you can.
And what is it? And like your good time games, right?
Like good time games with Adam and Phil. I will always plug that. Thank you. If you want to have a games night with your friends. But COVID, or you're just long distance and you'd like to see your friends online instead of just sitting there talking to them, why not play some games? Check out Good Time Games with Adam and Phil on Facebook, and we can set you up with a game package.
And I'm going to be playing one of his games tomorrow. So this is tried and tested and true. We do participate in these games. I did play test some of them for him. And so I definitely support it for some good times. And if I win, I will get a package to be able to play some games with some friends. So maybe if I do win, I'll make it like a bunch of people from the chat. We'll do maybe a little contest or something that we can all play. Fans, yeah, fans. Get our fans to subscribe. It would be amazing. Well, thanks everybody for being patient with us. I know we're usually live on Thursdays, but we were both having some computer issues. We'll be back to live next Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern, unless something happens. It's still Mercury retrograde. Any final thoughts, Phil, before we say sayonara?
No, thank you so much, Chantele. Reality Realness. Subscribe, everybody.
Do it. Love you guys. Love you, Phil. Thank you for joining us here in the chat.